Brianna looked pale. Callie, she whispered, this wasn't about flu meds. Or balance. Or even you. I couldn't speak. Because now it was clear. Mom had been planning this since before I was born. The next day, I didn't eat. I didn't go to school. I didn't speak to Mom. She tried knocking on the door. Sweetheart, are you okay? No answer. Callie, please say something. Silence. Then, did you go through my things? Still no answer. She exhaled. I know it's confusing. But I made the best choice I could with the information I had. I wanted you to thrive. I opened the door slowly. You didn't choose for me, Mom. You manufactured me. Her eyes welled up. No, she whispered. I gave you a path. You're the one walking it. Later that week, Sierra invited me over. She said a few friends from school were hanging out. Just board games and pizza. Low pressure. I agreed, mostly to escape the house. But when I arrived, one of the boys from the party, Jordan, was there. He smiled wide when he saw me. You made it, he said, handing me a slice of pepperoni. I nodded, but inside I was spinning. Did he know? Did any of them? Did it matter? Halfway through the evening, we ended up sitting alone on the back porch. Jordan turned toward me, his eyes soft under the porch light. Can I ask you something? Sure, I said carefully. What were you like before? I froze. What do you mean? I mean, you're amazing now. Confident. Smart. Funny. But I heard whispers. And I don't care either way, but I just wonder what your story is. My throat clenched. You wouldn't believe it if I told you, I said. He smiled. Try me. For the first time since my transformation began, I told someone outside my family the truth, well, most of it. That I had been someone else. That I had grown into a version of myself that wasn't planned, but still somehow fit. That I was still trying to understand who I was, Callie by name, maybe not yet by heart. Jordan didn't interrupt. Didn't react with shock. Just sat there, listening. When I finished, he looked at me and said, You're braver than anyone I know. And then, gently, he reached for my hand. I didn't pull away. Not because I was sure of anything, but because in that moment, I wanted to believe that maybe this path was still mine to claim, not just something I was pushed onto, but deep down, I knew the truth wasn't finished revealing itself. Because the name Dr. Mercer from that email? It wasn't just a side note. He was back. And he wasn't done with me. The night after Jordan held my hand, I couldn't sleep. Not because I was worried about him finding out the whole truth, but because something inside me had shifted. I felt seen. Respected. Safe, even. But it didn't last. The next morning, Brianna stormed into my room, phone in hand, her face white with fear. You need to see this, she said, breathless. On her screen was a digital article, just published by a local health watchdog group. Whistleblower reveals unethical identity experiments at Cambridge Wellness Institute. Unnamed minors subjected to hormone-altering treatments without informed consent. Clinic head believed to be a Dr. Richard Mercer. One case involves a teen-born male whose hormonal profile was altered prior to puberty using disguised supplements. Records suggest it was orchestrated by a family member within the medical system. My stomach turned to ice. That's you, I whispered. Brianna nodded. And guess what else? Mom used to intern under Mercer. Before either of us were born. It wasn't a coincidence. Mom hadn't just known Mercer. She had trained under him, learned from him, and helped him keep secrets. I confronted her that evening. She was pouring wine when I walked into the kitchen with the article printed out. Tell me it's not true. She froze. Her face didn't even flinch. She just set the wine glass down carefully. Where did you find that? You didn't deny it. Because I don't need to, she said flatly. Yes, I worked with Mercer. I was young. He was brilliant. Ahead of his time. But no one would fund his research. Everyone thought he was dangerous. Because he was, I snapped. She looked at me like a disappointed professor correcting a student. No, Callie. He wasn't dangerous. He was right. He proved that identity isn't static. That we can unlock the brain's self-image before it forms destructive confusion. By experimenting on children? By helping them become who they were too afraid to say they wanted to be. I was shaking. You didn't help me. You built me. That night, I couldn't stop thinking about one sentence from the article. One subject's donor history shows genetic markers identical to Mercer's own family tree. That stuck in my mind like a splinter. So I did something reckless. I went into Mom's locked filing cabinet. Brianna had the key from an old summer job and searched for my birth records. In a sealed envelope was a donor profile. Donor, RM. Height, 6 feet 1 inch, brown hair, green eyes, PhD candidate in endocrinology. My knees buckled. RM Richard Mercer. My mother hadn't just used Mercer's treatments. She used him. The man who helped me become Callie wasn't just a scientist or a doctor. He was my biological father. I didn't tell Mom what I found. Not yet. Instead, I did something I never thought I'd do. I emailed Mercer. There was an old address listed in the documents. I wrote a short message. You don't know me, but I think you made me. My name is Callie Winslow, and I want the truth. I didn't expect a reply, but the next day I got one. Callie, I've been waiting for this. I never wanted to disappear. Meet me Thursday, 6 p.m. Old Observatory. No one else. I told Brianna. She begged me not to go, but I had to. I needed to know if there was anything about me that hadn't been controlled or manipulated from the beginning. The observatory was long abandoned. Quiet. The kind of place no one goes unless they're running from something or looking for it. He was already there, leaning against the rail, back to me. He turned as I approached. He looked older than I expected, maybe early 50s. But the resemblance was undeniable. We had the same chin. The same eyes. Hello, Callie, he said softly. You look exactly how I imagined. Don't, I said. Don't pretend this was love. He nodded. Fair. What followed was a blur of confession. He told me he had donated sperm under the table, desperate to keep the clinic afloat when funding dried up. My mother was one of the few who knew. She chose his sample, knowing exactly what she was doing. She believed in the work more than anyone, he said. She wanted to raise proof. My knees buckled. I'm not proof. I'm a person. He winced. I know. That's why I stepped away. But I couldn't stop watching. I made sure your transition went smoothly. Quietly. I pulled strings you'll never even know. My voice cracked. Why me? His answer was quiet. Hollow. Because you were the only one we got right. I left him standing there under the stars. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just walked back into the world, knowing now that my entire existence was a science project. But also knowing this. No matter how I was created, I was still the one who had to decide what to do with it. The Monday after I met Dr. Mercer, my biological father, my accidental creator, I returned to school with a decision buried deep inside me. I would reclaim my identity. On my terms. No more secrets. No more manipulation. If I was going to live as Callie, I had to be the one holding the pen. But the universe, apparently, had other plans. It started with stares. More than usual. Then whispers. Not subtle ones. The kind that follow you down the hallway like smoke in a locked room. By lunchtime, I knew something was wrong. Sierra was waiting for me under the oak tree, her face ghost pale, her phone gripped tightly. They know, she said. I blinked. Who knows what? She just turned the screen toward me. There, playing on her phone, was a shaky video. Grainy. Dim. A clip of me in the school bathroom from weeks ago, changing. My back turned, pulling off a training bra. The shot zoomed in on my reflection just long enough to hint at something that didn't match the usual narrative. There was no sound. Just a caption. Callie out. She's not who you think she is. It had over 18,000 views. Posted on a burner account with no name. I couldn't breathe. Who would do this? I gasped. But deep down, I already knew. Bethany Wallace. She had always smiled too wide when I walked in. Always made sure to compliment my outfits a little too loudly. The same girl whose dad sat on the school board. The same girl I saw sneak out of the locker room behind me last month. She had access. She had motive. And she had made me a scandal. I didn't go to class that afternoon. Instead, I walked the halls like a ghost, trying not to let anyone touch me. I made it to the nurse's office, locked the door, and called Brianna. She answered instantly. I saw it. I want to disappear, I said, voice shaking. No, you don't, she replied. You want justice. When I got home, I found Mom in her study. She was already holding her tablet, the video paused mid-frame. Her face wasn't angry. It was tired. Defeated. I tried to protect you, she said softly. No, I shot back. You controlled me. There's a difference. She closed the tablet. So what now? I paused. And for the first time, I answered with clarity. Now, I fight back. As me. Brianna helped me draft a statement. Not the kind adults write. The kind that girls like me need to write for other girls like me to survive. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't polished. It was real. We filmed it in my room. Just me. A blank wall. One light. And the truth. Hi. My name is Callie Winslow. You may know me as someone else. Or you may think you know my story. But you don't. What you saw online wasn't a confession. It was a violation. And I won't be ashamed of it. Yes, I was born different. Yes, my journey here wasn't normal. But I didn't ask to be made. I chose to become. To the person who filmed me without consent, you didn't expose me. You exposed yourself. And to everyone else. If I'm too complicated for you, that's okay. But I'm not going anywhere. My name is Callie. And this is my story now. We posted it. Within an hour, it had 10,000 views. By the next day, it had 500,000.